It was an ordinary morning in early November 2023 when Mr. Cooper, one of the largest mortgage servicers in the United States, was hit by an event that would throw its millions of customers into chaos.
Mr. Cooper is the largest servicer of mortgage loans across the country, actually.
14.7 million people's data, including their social security number, was breached from your good friend Mr. Cooper.
Including names, social security numbers, and bank account numbers. On its site, Mr. Cooper indicated the attack impacted 4 million current customers.
Bought or sold to a servicer, i.e. Mr. Cooper.
People went about their daily routines, expecting to manage their mortgage payments, check balances, and access important account information online like they always did. But when they tried to log into their accounts, they were met with something unexpected. The entire system was down. What started as a simple error quickly turned into a large-scale crisis. The online payment portal, one of the most crucial parts of Mr. Cooper's service, was suddenly offline, and customers couldn't complete their usual transactions. What was going on? As the hours passed, the issue grew worse. More and more customers were locked out of their accounts, unable to make payments or check balances. Calls flooded Mr. Cooper's customer service line, but help wasn't coming fast enough. For a company as big as Mr. Cooper, with millions of customers depending on it, this was not just an inconvenience. This was a catastrophe. What had caused such a massive failure in the system? It was soon revealed that Mr. Cooper was the victim of a cyber attack, a deliberate act by hackers targeting the company's most sensitive systems. The company's online payment portal, which is central to the mortgage process, was forced offline to protect against further damage. As the magnitude of the situation unfolded, the impact spread across the company's entire operation. This attack didn't just affect the website, it brought down Mr. Cooper's entire IT infrastructure. Imagine millions of people trying to access their accounts, pay their mortgages, and manage their finances, only to be met with a total system shutdown. Homeowners rely on these platforms to make sure their payments are on time, to check balances, and to handle critical financial matters. This sudden stop was more than just an annoyance. Many homeowners feared they wouldn't be able to pay their mortgages on time, and the uncertainty around what this would mean for their credit scores and finances became a growing concern. Would late fees be applied? Would their credit scores suffer because of something that wasn't their fault? These were the questions running through everyone's mind. At the heart of this chaos was a chilling reality. This attack wasn't just a small hack or system glitch, this was a full-scale cyber assault. Mr. Cooper had to shut down its systems entirely, which signaled that the attack was deeply embedded within their IT infrastructure. It was clear to many cybersecurity experts that this wasn't just a data breach, but likely a ransomware attack, where hackers lock up systems and demand payment in return for restoring them. Ransomware attacks are becoming more and more common, especially against financial institutions like Mr. Cooper, which hold large amounts of sensitive data. The stakes were enormous. What if the attackers had accessed customers' private information, loan details, social security numbers, or even payment histories? As the company tried to contain the situation, internal operations were also hit hard. Mr. Cooper's call centers were flooded with calls from worried customers. Yet the same technical issues affecting the website were also crippling their ability to provide help. Employees couldn't access internal systems to assist with account issues, leaving customers on hold for hours at a time. Frustration grew as people tried desperately to get answers, but none came. Many took to social media to express their concerns and anger, with countless posts about being left in the dark by the company they trusted with their home loans. For those on the brink of missing payments, every minute felt like an eternity. Despite these efforts, the attack seemed to dig deeper into Mr. Cooper's systems. It wasn't just the payment portal that had been affected. The attack had spread to other key areas of their digital ecosystem. Given the amount of personal and financial data that Mr. Cooper handles, many feared the worst. Would hackers gain access to sensitive information that could lead to identity theft or fraud? The lack of information from Mr. Cooper didn't help either. The company was slow to communicate what was going on, offering only vague statements that confirmed a cyber incident had occurred, but without giving clear answers about what had been compromised or how long the systems would be down. Behind the scenes, Mr. Cooper was working frantically with cybersecurity experts to understand how the attackers got in and how to stop them. The company was focused on preventing further damage and protecting customer data, which is why they took the drastic step of shutting down the systems entirely. But this only made the situation more difficult for customers, who were left with no way to pay their mortgages, no updates on their accounts, and no idea of what was happening with their sensitive information. The scale of the attack was massive, and the damage was growing by the minute. Customers' trust in Mr. Cooper was eroding as quickly as the company's systems were failing. The longer the systems remained down, the worse the situation became. Without their usual digital payment options, Mr. Cooper had to resort to manual processing of payments, a process that was slow and prone to errors. Homeowners were instructed to mail checks or make phone payments, but with the company's call centers overwhelmed, this was hardly a viable solution. Many payments were delayed, leaving customers wondering if their accounts would be penalized for missing deadlines. The fear of financial consequences loomed large over homeowners who, through no fault of their own, found themselves unable to manage one of the most important financial responsibilities in their lives. The company's response to the attack was heavily criticized. Customers felt that Mr. Cooper wasn't doing enough to communicate what was happening, and the lack of clear updates only added to the confusion and anxiety. For many, the biggest concern was whether their personal and financial data had been compromised. In an age where data breaches and identity theft are common, this attack felt all too real. People were left wondering if their personal information had fallen into the wrong hands, and without clear answers, fear took hold. The slow trickle of information coming from Mr. Cooper wasn't enough to calm the growing concerns. The company tried to reassure its customers that they were doing everything they could to resolve the situation, but the damage had already been done. Many customers were left feeling abandoned by a company they had trusted to manage their homes, their most significant financial asset. The reality of the situation was grim. Mr. Cooper had been brought to its knees by an unseen enemy, and the repercussions of the attack were only just beginning to unfold. It took weeks for Mr. Cooper to fully restore its systems. Every part of their digital infrastructure had to be carefully examined and rebuilt to ensure that no trace of the attackers remained. The online payment portal was one of the last systems to come back online, given the sensitive nature of the data it handled. During this time, the company was processing payments manually, a far cry from the efficient digital service that customers had come to expect. The recovery process was slow, frustrating, and fraught with challenges. As the dust began to settle, Mr. Cooper made promises to invest more heavily in cybersecurity measures to prevent a similar attack in the future. But for many customers, the damage had already been done. The attack had exposed vulnerabilities not only in Mr. Cooper's systems, but also in the trust that customers placed in the company. Financial institutions are supposed to protect their customers' data, and this attack had shown just how easily that protection could be breached. In an increasingly digital world, the safety of personal and financial information feels more precarious than ever. The full cost of the attack, both in terms of financial loss and reputational damage, is still being calculated. But one thing is certain: this attack was a wake-up call for Mr. Cooper, for its millions of customers, and for the broader financial industry. The reality of cybersecurity threats is no longer something that can be ignored. Cybercriminals are becoming more sophisticated, and the data they seek is more valuable than ever. The attack on Mr. Cooper serves as a stark reminder that no system is truly safe from the growing wave of cybercrime. In the aftermath of the attack, questions remain. Could this happen again? What vulnerabilities still exist within the systems that manage our most personal financial information? These are the unsettling thoughts that linger for those who lived through the attack, and while the systems may have been restored, the sense of security that was lost may never fully return.